Every revolution begins with a step. But this isn't just a step. This is Africa taking a big, bold step into the future. The question is, will you be part of this? In just a few years, Africa will host one of the fastest growing workforces in the world, full of talent, creativity, and drive. Combine that energy with technology and innovation, and you get opportunities that can redefine industries and shape markets. See companies like Flutterwave, Paystack, and Della, Jumia. They recognized this opportunity early, scaled across continents, transformed sectors, and captured markets once thought unreachable. And Tech Revolution is where the next generation of leaders step in to do the same. How can you be part of this? Now let's talk about the tickets that get you in. We have the classic and the business class that provide entry, essential networking, and access to the startup vests, while the founder and investor access opens the doors to high-level deal making. With the executive ticket, senior leaders gain the edge, priority entry across sessions, exclusive networking, curated launches, and premium access to founders and investors. Every conversation, every handshake, every session is a chance to drive strategy, form partnerships, and shape Africa's business and tech future. January 30th to 31st, 2026 at Landmark Event Center, Lagos. Grab your executive early bird ticket today and be at the heart of action. Tech Revolution Africa starts now. Every revolution begins with a step, but this isn't just a step. This is Africa taking a big, bold step into the future. The question is, will you be part of this? In just a few years, Africa will host one of the fastest growing workforces in the world, full of talent, creativity, and drive. Combine that energy with technology and innovation, and you get opportunities that can redefine industries and shape markets. See companies like Flutterwave, Paystack, and Della, Jumia. They recognized this opportunity early, scaled across continents, transformed sectors, and captured markets once thought unreachable. And Tech Revolution Africa 2.0 is where the next generation of leaders step in to do the same. How can you be part of this? Now let's talk about the tickets that get you in. We have the classic and the business class that provide entry, essential networking, and access to the startup vests, while the founder and investor access opens the doors to high-level deal making. With the executive ticket, senior leaders gain the edge, priority entry across sessions, exclusive networking, curated launches, and premium access to founders and investors. Every conversation, every handshake, every session is a chance to drive strategy, form partnerships, and shape Africa's business and tech future. January 30th to 31st, 2026 at Landmark Event Center, Lagos. Grab your executive early bird ticket today and be at the heart of action. Tech Revolution Africa starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Please, if you can hear me, kindly confirm in the chat box. All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. This is the Techeconomy business series. It's a monthly series where we have various industry experts talk about various burning and budding issues in the industry. So firstly, I will say welcome to this monthly webinar, the November edition. And we are partnering with Tech Revolution Africa Conference, Tech Revolution Africa. I would like to quickly call on David from Tech Revolution Africa to speak briefly about their upcoming conference. Thank you very much. Over to you, David.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can very well.
Okay, and
Hello,
can
David, we
you...
can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. Welcome on back.
All right, thank you. And can you see my face?
And this one too.
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
All right. I can't see my face. I'm trying to see my own face. All right, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I hope we're doing very well this morning. I was hoping I was going to share my screen, but it's fine. I mean, I can speak directly without sharing my screen. My name is David Ogebe. I'm the co-founder of Tech Revolution Africa Conference and Exhibition. And I mean, a couple of us may have seen Tech Revolution Africa probably on LinkedIn, on your socials, maybe a radio show as well. A couple of us probably are hearing about it for the first time. But I'll just take a couple of minutes to introduce what Tech Revolution Africa is all about and what we are up to in 2026, January of 2026. Now, Tech Revolution Africa is I was thinking about it this morning and I thought about it differently. It's actually a market shaping platform that gathers together some of the most important and highly revered leaders in the tech ecosystem, not just in Africa, but across the continent. We're talking of industry leaders, we're talking of policy makers, government representatives, startup founders, and innovators that have done great and incredible work in the ecosystem over the past decade. Now, the reason why this is critical is because there is a shift that's going on in the market. A couple of us who are in the ecosystem know exactly what AI and some of the emerging technology trends have done in the marketplace. Startups are beginning to pull weights bigger than enterprise organizations that have been there for years. And the big guys are looking for how to cut down teams, cut down budgets, and stay competitive and relevant in the marketplace. That's the revolution that we are experiencing today. And that's why we believe it's important that not just the leaders, not just the startups, but every player in the ecosystem is able to come together, have conversations, understand what is going on, and craft the digital economy forecast for the next 5 to 10 years in the tech ecosystem. Now, specifically about what's going on in Tech Revolution Africa 2026, we are moving and pushing the numbers towards 5,000 attendees here in Lagos
I
at
think last
Landmark.
Monitor Dream Labs reached out that
Sorry, there's someone who is speaking. Can he mute? Can we mute him? Can the host just mute him? All right, thank you. And so we're pushing the numbers to 5,000 attendees at Landmark Event Center, Lagos, for 2 days, January 30th and 31st. And the attendees will typically include C-suite executives, of course, decision makers, leaders. Now, it is not just about the numbers, it's not just about bringing people into the room, but more specifically, we are looking at conversations that will lead to deals, conversations that will create real-time impact, conversations that will inspire people, that will lead the next wave of unicorn startup founders that are creating real-world solutions. And in order to do that, we have partnered with some of the most incredible organizations. Now, I look at it in such a way that, I mean, when I look at the participants list, the numbers, I mean, we have a partner, a sponsor all the way from Silicon Valley, coming all the way to Nigeria for the event, sending delegates down. We have a couple of partners from Denmark. It speaks a lot to the quality of conversations and quality of deals that will be discussed and signed at Tech Revolution Africa. And so we are looking at, like I said, 2 days at Landmark Event Center. We're looking at startup founders, innovators, leaders, students as well, and policymakers in the same room. We're also looking at a situation where there will be over 50 exhibitions. A couple of partners are already filling up the exhibition booths. We're looking at pre-event activities, and of course, we are heavy on media. We're heavy on media. In the first edition, I beg your pardon, I didn't even mention that we had a first edition in January this year, January 31st and 1st of February this year at Oriental Hotel. So this is a second edition, but we have partnered heavily with the media, and we are looking at bringing more partnerships, especially in the media space, to be able to promote the event, which is why the partnership with Techeconomy was really critical and is critical, stirring up conversations like this in this pre-event activity. Now, something really interesting that's happening now at Tech Revolution Africa is that we are at a critical time in terms of promotions where we are trying to make the access really affordable for a lot of people. And that's why we've introduced the Black Friday deal. We are currently running the Black Friday deal where you can get all ticket categories at an incredible discount. And incredible, I mean, it's never happened before, but this is, I mean, of course, an opportunity to be able to access the conference at an incredible discount. And so we're giving a 40% discount on all ticket categories. We currently have the classic tickets, the business categories, the executive tickets, and the founder or investor pass. All ticket categories currently are at 40% discount. And it's been on running from 24th of November up until Friday, 28th of November. So if you know anybody, if you're interested, I mean, if you've seen a ticket or you've saved it in your cart for a later date, I would say that now is the best time to go back to your cart, make that purchase because, I mean, this discount is going to be taken, it's going to be off as soon as the promo is off on Friday, right? And just to mention a bit about our partners, we're currently headlined by MTN. Headline sponsor for Tech Revolution Africa is MTN Nigeria. And of course, this is the second time we are partnered with MTN to get this done. Speaks a lot about the credibility, about the impact, about what we are doing correctly at the conference. We currently have partners such as Liga Data, Venut Technologies, Infonomics. I mean, the some of the critical players in the tech ecosystem when it comes to what's going on now in terms of the revolution. And so that's a summary of what Tech Revolution Africa is all about. One of the critical things I'll say is that it's positioned to happen at such a time when many people will be setting out goals for the new year. There are a lot of prayer points that will happen. People will be going for prayer and fasting towards the beginning of the year. And I would say that the first answer to most of the prayer points that will happen for many people is Tech Revolution Africa, a platform where you walk in, you get immense value, you get the deals, you get the contract signed, you get the job. I mean, some talents, of course, come on board and get jobs. We've seen it happen in the first edition, and even much more would happen, right? So see it as a strategic time, a strategic position wherein you come in, get the right deal, get the answers to your prayers. I'm not sure those hands, those reactions, is that to say my time is up, or you're actually cheering me on to say, go on, David, you're doing well. All right. Thank you. But I'll be wrapping up shortly. I was speaking about the timing, which is really critical. We want to be able to craft or chart the digital economy forecast for the year 2026. What should companies be looking at? Which industries should companies be looking at? What kinds of partnerships should companies focus on throughout their strategy for the year 2026? All of that will be discussed exclusively on Tech Revolution Africa. So I would join us to be there. Save the date, get your tickets, which is at an incredibly, unbelievable discount now. Get your tickets, invite a friend, get your ecosystem to be there, and don't miss out on Tech Revolution Africa 2.0. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of this webinar. I believe there'll be a lot of insights shared, which is like a foretaste of what TRA 2.0 will be all about. Thank you so much, and over to you, host.
Thank you, David, for sharing. Please, let's throw some emojis for David. And that's a big one from Tech Revolution Africa that will be happening in January. I think if you are on this webinar, it's a privileged information to hear that they are giving away this upcoming conference at 40% off, a whooping 40% off. So I think we should take that opportunity. Within mute the host, please kindly mute. Thank you. I'm Oluwatosin Aloba, the brand manager at Techeconomy. I'm standing in for Imo. Imo is going to be joining us as the moderator for the panel session. Thank you for being part of this webinar. Please, can we just throw some emojis so I can know that we are here together in this webinar? Kindly throw some emojis. Thank you. Thank you. More emojis. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Joanne. Okay, quickly, we'll move on to start the panel session, but I'll quickly like to introduce the list. Firstly, we have Elochukwu Iloma, the head IT infrastructure Coral Pay. Technology Nigeria Limited. Please let's throw some emojis for
business
her.
transformation leader with 20 plus years of experience delivering strategic solutions across financial services, consulting, energy, utilities, and the public sector. She specializes in aligning technology, cybersecurity, CRM, and operational change with business goals, and is known for leading complex, multidisciplinary teams across the UK, US, Europe, Asia, and Africa. As a trustee and non-executive director, she brings strong expertise in risk management, cybersecurity, and corporate governance. Passionate about using technology to drive growth, she is also committed to empowering young people in STEM, inspired by her work with youth in Africa and the UK. Akapo is a results-driven sales and marketing professional with over a decade of experience growing consumer-focused brands across Africa, including Jumia, Shuttlers, Edekoya, and Quick Delivery. He has a proven track record in revenue growth, team leadership, and executing data-led strategies that strengthen market presence and customer loyalty. As the CEO and founder of EdSWAT, he is redefining learning for Africa and the diaspora through global curriculum integration and personalized education solutions across tutoring, language learning, coding, and music. Driven by impact, Oluwatobi is committed to nurturing young talent and continues to gain international recognition as a rising leader in education and technology. Glory is a technology leader with 7+ years of experience building products for global startups and leading impactful initiatives across Africa's tech ecosystem. He currently develops core banking products at Kuda, serving millions across the continent. He is the founder of Tech Nexus Africa, an edtech mentorship platform supporting over 5,000 young Africans from 10 countries, and co-founder of Tech Revolution Africa, a Pan-African event executed in partnership with MTN, CC Hub, Tech Mahindra, PMI, and Sterling Bank. As a global speaker and mentor, Glory has supported startups through programs such as Savvy Fellowship, NitHub Accelerator, and Mark Hack, and has spoken at major tech events across Africa. He is driven by a passion for building impactful products, developing talent, and advancing innovation across the continent. Elachukwu Aloma is an enterprising and solution-driven information and financial technology professional, passionate about leveraging technology to solve complex challenges and drive digital transformation. With a strong background in information systems and emerging technologies, he is committed to building secure, efficient, and scalable solutions that align with organizational goals. He currently serves as the head of IT infrastructure at CoralPay Technology, Nigeria Limited, where he leads strategic initiatives that enhance system performance, strengthen IT business alignment, and deliver high-impact value across the organization. Isa Lakama is a tech leader, entrepreneur, and philanthropist committed to expanding access to technology and careers. She founded DT Training UK, a leading platform that has helped over 100,000 people transition into roles across cybersecurity, cloud, data, DevOps, and project management. She also created the Tech Practical Internship, TPI, program to connect learners with UK employers for real work experience and launched Cybertech Labs to prepare talent for emerging technologies. Outside education, Issa is the first black woman to own an outdoor advertising media company in the UK, PML Digital UK, giving SMEs and minority-led businesses access to premium visibility. She has personally donated £80,000 over 4 years to support mothers entering tech through scholarships, devices, and mentorship. Her work across education, employment, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy continues to shape more inclusive pathways in the tech ecosystem.
Thank you, host. Imo, over to you. Imo, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Tosin. Please confirm you
Good
can hear
morning.
me as well.
I can, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. It's super amazing to have us all here in the room. Thank you to all our attendees who were quite timely, and thank you to our speakers as well. Thank you, Techeconomy, for always having us here in the room to discuss prevailing topics. But I'm not the star of today, of course. It is our panelist. And first of all, I apologize that my camera is not on. So a bit of a ground rules. So please, for everyone in the room, kindly keep your mics muted. And also for our speakers that will be coming on stage, Tech Economy Business Series are always an immersive experience. So please, we kindly implore that you keep your cameras on, even if you're not speaking. So please kindly keep your cameras on as you're being brought to the stage. And as we progress, this is because we're streaming to YouTube, to Instagram, and of course to Facebook. So we want to always maintain that standard of immersive experience for our attendees. All right, welcome, Mr. Glory. Welcome, Elochukwu. Please, can you say hello? Let me know that I'm not speaking to myself.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good, great. So this is
All
Elochukwu
right.
Idoma.
So,
Yeah.
yes, I can see your handsome face and your glasses. All right. So we're here to discuss, of course, tech revolution. But of course, the topic we want to dissect today, being the November edition of Tech Economy, is the sector of health, education, and of course, how prevailing technologies are disrupting that sector. And the Institute has done quite well to bring handpicked speakers who are quite versed in these topics. And so, of course, we'll be dissecting themes such as education transformation, health transformation, and business transformation. But I quickly want to start with Mr. Elochukwu, if you can hear me. So let's dissect business transformation in a bit. Just 3 to 4 minutes response. In business, we've seen how the shift to cloud infrastructure is in a way non-stop. So for smaller businesses, what is the most practical first step they can take to leverage really robust IT infrastructure without breaking the bank?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you. I mean, some years back, I would have typically just said, go to the cloud, right? I would have said that the most practical way is for smaller businesses to leverage the robust IT infrastructure is just to adopt the cloud-based software applications like all the software and service solutions that you have out there, specifically for things like email, collaboration, CRM, accounting softwares, right? I mean, and this might still be the case, right? Because these offer pay-as-you-go solutions and even sometimes subscription-based solutions, right? But I mean, it is the times we are in now, right? I do not need to tell anyone what the FX is doing and how unfriendly and unstable it has been, right? And also considering the fact that most of these cloud solutions, right, are FS costs to organizations, right? I'm just going to be very practical, right? I would not go out all there saying go to the cloud, right? For me, basically and realistically, I would say it's more of a mix and match. You have to find the right balance, right? You have to find the right balance, right? Things like email, of course, it's a no-brainer. Those can all be, you can leverage a lot of cloud solutions today for email, CRM, and the rest, right? But as a small business, as a startup, um, cost is very key. Cost is very, very crucial to you. You need to be able to manage your costs. And FX, incurring FS costs for me typically is not the way to go, right? It could easily, very easily spiral to significant amounts that you would not know how they hit you hard, right? So I would say if you have bespoke solutions that you are building to address certain business and certain problems in the country or certain problems in different sectors and segments, right? And you're offering to customers, all right? You need to really, really do the numbers, let the numbers speak to you, How do you want to grow? How do you want to scale? Right. You could go spin off instances on the cloud, so somewhere out there, or you could begin to consider quite some number of colocation services locally here in Nigeria, right? And I mean, I know there are also some initiatives towards having some local clouds, right, here that would basically mean that your cost remains in naira. The main focus is to manage your cost, right? Also I mean, achieve some level of stability, some level of availability also as you are growing, right? Um, Again, let the numbers speak to you. You can do this over a period of 2 years, 3 years. Check what the cost is going to be to probably maybe host your bespoke solutions somewhere locally here in a collection service, right? And while maintaining some cloud solutions for your email, CRM, all that, right? Or I mean, go all cloud, but again, let the numbers make sense, right? I would not outrightly say do this or do that, right? But you need to know, you need to be mindful of your cost. Of course, you're a growing business, you want to show viability, you want to show profitability, both to your investors and I mean family and friends, just to say, if I mean you have family and friends and investors, right? They still want to see that this is a viable product or a viable business. And um you don't want to basically give all you've earned, all your hard labor to FS costs, right? So I'll say let the numbers speak to you. Cloud is good. It offers a very easy entry, right? But again, it could also make sense to consider some colocation services, right? That might still offer you good reliability, good uptime, and manage your costs in local currency. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for being exhaustive with that response, Mr. Lochuku, and thank you for prompting us to the cloud infrastructure. But I missed out on, of course, really giving a shout out to big partners of Tech Revolution, which is Coralpay, to which Mr. Lochuku sits as the head of IT infrastructure. Coralpay, of course, is a Nigerian payment solution company that helps businesses accept and process payments more easily across multiple channels. And for anyone who is interested, they also provide tools for USSD payments, which means, of course, they're quite financially inclusive and friendly to financial inclusion. And they also offer card payments, bank transfers, and the regular channels such as POS and online transactions. So Coralpay also, of course, offers secure, compliant payment processing and bulk payment tools, which help businesses and companies manage payouts, collections, and daily transactions. So overall, I would say that they give businesses a reliable, flexible way to handle payments and grow in a fast-changing digital economy. So in case you didn't know about Coralpay, now you know. Big shout out to Coralpay for partnering with Tech Revolution and, of course, with Techeconomy for this. So I want to go right straight to Mr. Glory, still hinging on the business transformation angle of this conversation. Mr. Glory, please can you confirm that you are there on stage?
Yeah, I am. Hi, everyone.
All right. All right. Thank you so much and good morning to you. I hope you're joining from Nigeria, though, in case I'm not wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gloria, okay, thank you. So I really want to confirm because this is one of the prevailing questions that came when we put out this webinar out. It came from a lot of our community members, and the question goes this: says when scaling a new business technology in Africa, what factors are more important than the technology itself? Is it the policy? Is it investments? Or is it talent? And where do you see the next great wave of African tech innovation coming from?
Okay, thanks. Very good question. And I think that we find a lot of this debate online. So what matters when you're trying business? Is it the technology, your infrastructure? Is it the talent? That's the people. Is it policy, government policy? All of these are critical and really like they contribute important ingredients when it comes to like business growth, business scaling, transformation, and more. But my biggest bet will definitely be on the talent. right? The people, the quality of the people. And what I have seen over time, building businesses or working on the or in businesses, is that the quality of persons you have in the room, the quality of talent, the quality of your human resource play a very, very large role in how far that business is going to be able to grow. I mean, the quality of people, in fact, will determine the quality or your selection of technology components to basically deploy. Just like Elu Chuku has sort of talked about, the quality of talent will, help you determine like the kind of business model you'd run. It will determine the how much quality effort to be put into like your marketing, your sales, and all of that stuff, basically. So my biggest bet definitely is on the talent. Right now, obviously, policy is important. If you were building like a great business with great market potential, but in an environment where they are not supporting policies from the government, growth is going to be stifled. And it's going to be a lot harder to scale, right, in that ecosystem. And so policy is important. But again, like I said, all of these things are critical, but my bet is always going to be on talent, right? In terms of where I think the next wave of innovation will come from, I would say there's a couple areas. One of them is AI, for example. AI has come, is here to stay, and is really turbocharging how we do business across the world, right? And the cool thing about AI is that it's sector agnostic. What that means basically is that irrespective of the sector, fintech, health tech, edtech, logistics, basically clean tech, e-commerce, SaaS, and more, irrespective of whatever you're building, AI is able to help you improve your processes and help you scale a lot faster, right? So that's one wave of innovation. And just to add on the AI bit of things, the conversation for me, for Tech Ocean Africa as a platform, is not just on AI in a generic sense. It's really on how we in Africa can play a leading role. If you look at all of the ways of innovation that have, swept globally over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, Africa typically always comes last. We end up being like the consumers, right? And so the West basically creates and is shipped down to Africa for us to consume. And so that's why the conversation really is that even for AI, for example, how can we get into leading position? It's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take great policies, it's going to take quality talent, it's going to take a lot of funding, investments in this sector. But really, how can we start to also create what we consume in here, and even create at the scale where we can export to the rest of the world. So there's AI, basically. I think there's climate tech and clean energy. So solar solutions, building of mini grids, and basically just really tools that will help communities adapt to potential climate challenges. Fintech, right, is perhaps the most prevalent, the most saturated sector, where we have like the most startups. For example, if you look at the Nigerian ecosystem. But I think that there's some bit of innovation that I foresee coming with respect to that, where we would move beyond like basic payments to proper credit, proper savings, and proper cross-border trade. And innovative financial tools for SMEs. That's one of the areas that Corp is playing majorly in. So big ups to them. There's also agri-tech. There's also edtech, which is one personal area I'm also very interested in. Let me talk about edtech, and I think I'll just wrap up because of time. So edtech, basically, technology has helped us in the educational sector to be able to democratize learning. What that means basically is we're able to help a lot more persons, especially in the more rural, less conducive, less urban areas, access knowledge, right? I think that in terms of innovation, what is coming, I'm looking at a time when we would be able to help even more persons in low connected areas, low connectivity environments, have access to learning, and that's going to be possible through things like offline learning, offline first learning, skill acquisition platforms, and stuff like micro credentialing for young workers, right? So these are some areas. I've talked about fintech, I've talked about edtech, I've talked about AI, that I think there's new ways of innovation coming into Africa, and we need to get into pole position to not just participate, but to lead as a whole.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Glory, for going exhaustive on that and not holding back. I think one thing I can take, not just one thing, but for me, the pinpoint of everything that you've shared is the fact that we need to move from just being consumers, as has been in the past, but then moving into also being co-creators and even trailblazers of these technologies. And I think for me, also being a technologist, one thing that would set us apart as Africans is research, right? Researching on how this technology can not just be used in a consumption way, but how we can build technologies that actually are Africa first technologies. So I believe that research would be a game changer in that. And to segue a bit into telling the path of research, Mr. Oluwatobi, please, are you there on stage?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Imor.
Good morning. So good to see you. Mr. Glory has done quite well in dissecting the various sectors that he believes would of course bring advancement into Africa and of course for businesses. But I want to ask you, businesses of course either play in the B2B or B2C sectors. So I want to know, the B2B and B2C sales cycle are currently heavily digitized. What is the single most important digital tool or strategy that a business must master today to maintain a competitive advantage, either in lead generation or customer retention, or even both lead generation and customer retention, please?
Okay, for me, I think it's two words. It's learning agility. Two words, learning agility. Because let's look at it. Mr. Glory said something very, very key. He said that with the advent of AI, now companies are maximizing technology to grow. Now we see small and medium companies now taking advantage of tools where they would have originally hired people. Now they are using AI tools to maximize profitability, to maximize how they operate, to maximize how they retain clients. I'll give a quick example so that it's not people that are listening, they don't just listen, they hear what I'm saying, but they understand it. Now you see that companies can actually do digital marketing easily with the use of even as simple as ChatGPT, right? You can ask ChatGPT, okay, give me post for the month, right? Give me viral post for the month. This is how I want it to look like. Develop this kind of images for my social media platforms and things like that. So originally where you would people to do these things, you can easily learn them, easily maximize the number of people you have in your team, and easily even retain people. We also have Meta doing excellent work. You see that they begin to suggest to you the kinds of clients that are looking at your page, the kinds of clients that are converting, and due to machine learning, it begins to understand that, okay, these are the kinds of people in this demography, in this age bracket that usually would convert. So we see that with the advent of all this thing, machine learning, AI, it cannot be overemphasized what it is bringing to the game. Now, traditional big companies that with 1,000, 2,000 staffs are competing with companies maybe with 50 staffs that are doing maybe even more with the use of technology. So I think with AI, we are getting to see people develop their companies even better. And I think, like I wrote down here, skills can be automated, can be outdated, and it can be replaced. But people that learn, people that want to learn, people that want to use technology, people that want to use what is happening in this time and age would always be the people at the forefront of business. And we can see that with fintech. We can see how even traditional banks now are competing with fintechs because fintechs have penetrated the market. So I'll just stop there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that response. I think just when you started up, the word that hits me was learning agility. So if I get you quite well, learning agility is the method to stay ahead and to stay competitive. But then I would like to know, for in your own experience and in your expert opinion, what is the single most important digital tool that a business can master today?
I think is use of AI to grow your business. It's as simple as that. Use of AI to grow your business is what I would recommend for every business.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Luatobi. So before I move into a different theme of the conversation, which is quite close to my heart, education, I'd like to confirm if Olajumoke is on stage. Olajumoke, are you here?
Hi, Mo. Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Good to hear from you. Thank you so much for confirming. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing as well?
All right. I'm good. I'm good. I want to say your glasses look really nice. So thank you for
Thanks.
all right. So I want to know from a design and user experience standpoint, what do you think is the biggest challenge in making powerful new technologies like AI accessible and intuitive for non-technical users in the three sectors which we are discussing today? That would be education, health, and business. A lot of our speakers have spoken about AI being the most disruptive. So from your perspective and from your background, what is the biggest challenge in making these new technologies accessible and intuitive?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So I would say from experience and what I've seen is being able to integrate complex capabilities of AI into tools. I was use an example of one of the organizations that I've worked or that I'm working with at the moment. Being able to, so for example, we make use of Teams and we have AI co-pilots on there, but despite the fact that we have AI, our user, the way we use the tool hasn't changed. And that's one of the things that designers should put in perspective when they are trying to create new tools, making sure that behind all the technicalities and things that non-techies wouldn't understand, making it simple enough for people to be able to use and not having the fear that, oh, I'll be replaced or making sure that there is trust over fear and also making it as simple as possible. And from what we've seen so far, a lot of people that do not really have a level of understanding around technology, they've adapted ChatGPT because it's quite conversational. And that is because the same way you would message and you get a response from someone. So people are now embracing that, and the fear is going off bit by bit. So that's one of the things that user designers should put in view when they're trying to create this, to make it as simple as possible. And then when users want to adapt this tool, they don't have to change the way they make use of things or make use of that particular tool. Rather, they would embrace it. And also layering a level of simplicity in such a way that behind its technicalities, why AI is asking you a question, for example, when you put in, when you are asking a question and when it's being intuitive, responding to you and trying to think like you, the consumer or the user, making sure that whatever technicalities or the information that is coming back to the user is as simple as possible, simple to understand, simple to use, and building confidence with non-techies. So I would say that is the most important or one of the big other, whatever is being designed is integrated into either existing tool in such a way that the users would use it and they'll be confident enough to use it without feeling overwhelmed or being afraid or thinking, oh, if I don't learn this thing or it's too complex for me to learn, this will take my job off me and things like that. So that's one of the biggest challenge that I think that users, UI or UX designers should put in view when they are trying to create tool or when they are trying to put in AI into technologies, either existing or new ones.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. For me, a key word from what you've shared was being able to create trust over
Yes.
fear. I think that cuts across even just like Mr. Toby said, learning agility. I think even to build learning agility, there has to be that trust over fear because, like you said, if you're learning from a fear standpoint, oh, let me just learn this, maybe to not get replaced, it doesn't really sink, right? It doesn't really sink into your subconscious, and it's just a matter of just doing for doing sake. So thank you for bringing that keyword that we should understand, and whether we're building or using tools to use it with trust over fear. I want to stay on you a bit before I go to Madam Estee. Hoping we have seen AI being used in diagnostics and personalized medicine. I'm moving a bit into health right now. So, in your experience or in your opinion, what is the ethical responsibility of a product designer when creating technology that has such a direct and profound impact on human well-being and life in general?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I would say the most important thing that they should put in perspective should be the privacy of the user, making sure that when data is being collated, users are not pressured into giving too much information, and also ensuring that the product that is being developed is developed in such a way that it won't be harmful to the users. We've had stories, so many stories going on where people make use of tools and AI is telling them to do something to, negative to themselves. So making sure that there is transparency when these tools are being developed, ensuring also that the welfare and the privacy. So for healthcare sectors, for example, making sure that they follow the most stricted digital framework to make sure that the privacy and the data of users is protected. Ensuring that there is inclusion when you are collating this data and there are no biases, and then making sure that there is a lot of testing that would go on before such product is launched to make sure that there are no hidden technicalities or hidden issues around harming the patient or whoever it is that is going to provide those data. And also, when this data is analyzed, making sure that it's inclusive, putting into consideration neurodivergent patients and different types of patients. There is inclusion and there are no biases as well. One other thing, still staying on privacy, making sure that there's accountability and also there is audit trail so you can track whatever information that has been taken and how it's being processed, how data is processed, and making sure that this information is protected, to the strictest data privacy policy in the sector and, regulatory wise. Ensuring also that risk is communicated. So making sure people know that AI is not all knowing. And AI would also have, there are some limitations to what AI can do. So ensuring that stakeholders are informed of this and, making sure that this whatever it is, the end product is reviewed on a regular basis, ensuring that there is no data breach. I remember I read online about an healthcare sector where the third party supplier actually had a data breach and that leaked sensitive information about patients. So making sure that there is constant checking, testing of the product to make sure that data is protected to highest standards. So I would say data privacy is the most important thing that designers should put in perspective when designing products. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You might say your takeaway is privacy, but for me, you've really gone exhaustive on this point. And for me, my takeaways are the fact that there should be transparency, accountability, but the most important for me, I think, would be the non-bias, because I think that has been the most prevalent challenge that new technology has. I'm currently project managing a particular technology solution, and one of the reasons why the tech lead is not integrating a particular Face ID infrastructure is because they have a bias against blacks, right? So you could actually put your face up, and it really it tells you that that's not you. So for me, that point really, really struck my heart, non-bias, because if we should build things, it should actually be inclusive and have zero bias to anyone. All right, thank you so much. Madam Ese, please confirm you're on stage. Hello, Madam Ese, please, are you there? Okay, so while she confirms, I just want to quickly remind us that for our audience, if you have your questions, please we'll take questions at the end of this session. So don't be discouraged. Kindly keep your questions. But even right now, you can share them in the Q&A section, or if you prefer the chat section, you can drop your questions, and also so we'll take them. And for our panelists as well, if you have any points to add for any point that someone takes, you are allowed to raise your hand and of course drop or just prompt me at the end of their speaking time so that you can actually contribute your own expert and specialized opinion on that as well. So just to confirm for the last time, Madam Ese, are you here on stage? Okay, I think she's not for now. All right, so I want to come back to you, Mr. Oluwatobi. I was saying that I would love to dissect this particular theme. Education is quite close to my heart. My career started in education, so the education sector is quite very much close to heart. We have seen a different sector of education, just as we have seen with financial services in the advent of fintech, right? It's the same way
Yes.
for education. We have seen edtech coming into play now. Edtech is booming at a massive rate, right?
Yes.
But from a marketing and business perspective, how can educational technology companies effectively reach and convince traditional institutions, whether that be schools, universities, or learning institutions, to adopt their digital solutions?
Okay. Thank you, Imor, for that. It's also quite dear to me. Education is quite dear to me. I believe that currently we already seeing that progression happening, and I'll give you examples. Now we see schools. I will not want to mention names now. Imbibing the virtual classes, online learning classes, distant learning, and things like that. We're already seeing that even in universities that are owned by the government, that there are online classes currently happening. You know, I have some lecturer friends that do online classes for their students, even master students now. We see online learning happening in the evenings and things like that. COVID was a blessing for the tech space, especially the edtech space, because it ensured that we could see that this is actually possible. And now many of these schools, universities, secondary schools are beginning gradually to shift towards what we've always known. But how can we ensure that it's not just some of them shifting, that it's all of them? Number one, we have to lead by evidence. We have to show them that it actually works and that it's easy to actually use. You know, one of the speakers said it, that it must be easy to use, and that's why everyone is going to ChatGPT, because it's very easy to use, it's conversational, it's very helpful, the processes are not difficult to understand. It's just like WhatsApp, and everybody understands how to use WhatsApp, right? So that is how it is. So for the edtech space, we have to ensure that these institutions see it as something that helps the system and not just adds to the cumbersome process of the system, right? And it's evidence that would show that. So we need to show them the evidence. We need to give them trial classes. And that is why if you see most edtech, not all, but most edtech companies, they have a window of trial classes for you to use it, understand it, and see how it works. So we would also introduce that to these institutions to see how these things work, to see how they can naturally understand it. And that is what we do. We give you trial classes to test it. Your children should test it. Your aspirants should test it to see how the technology is very easy to use and it's hands-on. It's not cumbersome. It's not difficult to use. We also would want it to align to the curriculum and the standards of these institutions. Yes, we know that there's a body that has standards that you must pass through. So we as edtech companies are not circumventing these standards or these curriculums, but we are through technology aiding it to be better. With one-on-one classes, we ensure that students learn at their own pace, and it's not just that they're learning in a classroom full of students and they can't ask questions or the lecturer cannot move at their pace. We ensure that through the use of gamification, children that probably have some deficiency also learn after school. We also ensure that lecturers can pass exam assignments across, and these are also submitted online without the hassles of paper, without the hassles of looking for where these are submitted or it's being misplaced. And we see the great thing is with JAM now, we have JAM CBT, which is doing great wonders. It's what you put down that you get. There's no need for papers again. There's no need for missing scripts again. So it's a whole lot. And once we begin to show these institutions that this thing brings down the stress, brings down the cumbersome processes that the traditional way used to provide, and now it's easier for them to learn, easier for them to apply, easier for them to get reports and get marks across, they'll begin to grab it, grab this online technology or online classes that we have. So my point is simple: show them, let them use it, let them test it, and continue to encourage them, and they would see that it's easier to go along with technology.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toby. Thank you for that salient point. I've just been informed that Madam Mese is on stage. Madam Mese, please, can you confirm you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can. Good morning. I can.
Hi, good morning. Great to have you. The audience was already missing you, so thank you for
Oh my goodness.
being here.
Apologies. I came off a different
All right,
meeting.
so I want to baptize you immediately with fire. Just straight up, in one sentence, what do you believe is the single most disruptive technology across education, health, and business sectors right now? And why do you say so?
Good morning, everybody. What's the most disruptive technology? In all honesty, I know I'm in tech, but this whole tech thing is quite scary because where AI is moving these days, it's like every AI company is trying to outdo one another. And what I'm saying is scary is because we're kind of seeing where we're heading, like that's what happens in movies, where technology takes over human beings and human beings are no longer useful. So for me, I'll say it's AI that is disruptive and it is scary at the same time. We are seeing AI from a perspective whereby we use ChatGPT, we use Gemini, we all of that. It is good now, but if you really see into what this is actually doing, it's quite scary. So for me, I would say it's AI that's the most disruptive technology right now. And this is the reason why I say it's disruptive, because it's scary to me. I know those in tech, in pure tech, they will still be useful because you still need human beings to do some inputs into the build of any AI app. And while other roles are being made redundant because AI is taking over, but it's a good thing and it's a scary thing for me. I don't know how to explain it. It's just maybe I'm the only one feeling the right feel, but that's how I see it. AI is good, but in the long run, if I'm not saying companies should stop, enhancing AI skills or its features and capabilities, but I would say the way it is moving, it's like every company is trying to outdo, have version 1 release, the next 2 months you have version 2 release, and it's like it's keep going, and I don't know, it's scary. That's what I can say. It is scary to me because right now we use ChatGPT for everything. We use AI for virtually anything right now. There's AI in everything right now. Think about any area, any sector, AI is there. Right now it's still good, but do you know what it looks like in 5 years' time? Have anyone ever sat down to think about it? So this is, for me, is what I would say, that AI is disruptive and it's beneficial for now. So that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your submission. It sounded quite prophetic and, of course, professional as well.
Yeah.
But thank you for bringing that unique perspective. So I want to stay on you and ask, in your opinion, right, how is technology focusing on to refine the concept of digital literacy in the workplace?
Could you repeat
And
that?
as you
Because
answer
you
that,
kind of broke off for a minute.
okay, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can.
All right, I said, as we consider education transformation, right, how is technology forcing us to redefine the concept of digital literacy in the workplace? And what must training institutions do today to prepare the current and future workforce for a tech-driven professional landscape?
A lot of what we have been used to is theory-based. For anyone to excel in tech generally, you need to actually have hands-on experience in anything you're doing. So if we're trying to make education more literate, it's more of putting individuals who genuinely want to learn something or any new skill, a new feature about technology or anything about tech in education, making sure that we place them in a situation whereby they can literally practice what it is that they're learning. From where we come from, I'm Nigerian. Everything we've all been taught back in the day is theory, textbook. When we moved into this country, when I moved into this country, I realized that you can't just go download any information, because that's what I did. And I got penalized for that. That's called plagiarism. There are ways you need to paraphrase people's work and give them credit for using their information. You can't just take someone's work as your own work. It's called stealing, but that's not how we were raised from where we're coming from. But in this part of the world, well, I think other parts of the world as well, technology is actually improving now. People now come to see the benefits of having technology. And in the education space, I believe putting candidates in positions whereby, yes, you need to educate them of what it is they're learning, but at the same time, put them in position whereby they can actually swim, not just teaching them how to swim verbally, throw them in the deep, let them start swimming, then you can see how to actually help them and for them to improve themselves.
All right, so just to stay on that a bit, do you think that technology is forcing us to redefine the concept of digital literacy in the workplace? Let's stay in the workplace, right? Not just education, but in the workplace. Do you think that tech is forcing us to redefine that concept? And how, in your opinion, is it forcing us to redefine what digital literacy is in the workplace?
Okay, my understanding of digital literacy is ensuring that whatever it is we're doing, we're using digital products to deliver a service. So in the workplace, if you're asking how does it help, it does help because it makes things more efficient. It makes the task that would literally cost someone maybe a day or a week to do for the use of by using any digital product or any technological tool, it reduces the time frame to deliver that same task or that same ability, that same task or that same task. So in my opinion, I would say digital literacy is actually helping companies reduce time, reduce overhead costs, and also, make things more efficient. Hello? Am I mute? Am I on mute? Can you hear me? Is it
Yes,
just
we
me?
can. Yes,
Yeah, we
hear you.
can.
Oh,
We can.
okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the way I see it. Digital literacy at work. At the end of the day, you need to, sorry, what's that? It just helps from an employer standpoint when employees are, delivering on what it is they've been employed to do. With the use of technology, it just makes them work faster and more efficient.
All right, that's amazing to hear, ma'am. The next question will actually go to Glory. Glory, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to know what's the role of tech in democratizing education in Africa and infrastructural barriers?
Okay, thanks. So I think that tech over the last decade and more has played an incredible role globally and especially in Africa when it comes to helping education scale, also in terms of increasing access for young Africans, to learning. Um, and how you can easily know that is we have 49 persons on the call. I'm sure that at least 70, 80, if I want to stretch it, maybe 90% of us have taken at least one course online, right? Yes, I know we all went to school, obviously, primary, secondary, university, and all that stuff. But I'm sure each one of us have at least taken a course online. It could be Udemy or Coursera or some other platform. What you took, what you experienced, the knowledge you gained, the certification you gained, and overall, like the impact of that endeavor is a function of technology and what it's done to education, right? And so it's had an incredible influence. It's expanded reach, basically. So geographical barriers are lifted. From Nigeria, we're able to take courses from universities, for example, in the US and the UK. We're able to learn from institutions in any other part of the world via the internet. So geographical barriers are taken out. When I was answering before, I talked about, one of the biggest things that happen in Africa is there's increased access to learning materials and knowledge, right, via courses, to remote areas, right, places that are less urban, less developed. But we're now able to send lessons to these places. The people in there are able to access that. Something else that has education is we have something called personalized learning, right? Let me paint a scenario. Previously, before the advent of tech and its impact in this area, to learn, you had to be in a classroom, right? So a teacher comes in for 1 hour, you're in there. If you miss that lesson, it's gone, right? You probably have to take notes from someone else to catch up on what's been done. And of course, there was a curriculum where you had the timetables and schedules and all of that stuff. But personalized learning via tech, that's online, means that I'm able to look at the next 3 months, for example, plan the days I want to take part of the course. And I'm able to. So if you have a course, for example, and you have 1,000 people taking them, they're able to move at their own pace. They're able to select their own unique language preference. They're able to even set. I mean, you have courses that are so advanced where you can choose like your skill level. So there's a version of the course for you if you're a beginner. There's a version of the course if you're on intermediate levels as well. So flexible personalized learning is one of the benefits. Obviously, it's helped education scale, right? It will be difficult to get 100,000 persons in one classroom for a lesson, but with the internet, with technology, you can get those persons to learn a particular skill or discipline online, right? I think it's also improved like our traditional education and schooling, right? And so technology basically is currently supporting schools, it's supporting teachers, it's helping them distribute lessons, distribute resources, lesson plans, and all of that stuff a lot better and faster. I think another area basically is like it's broken down like language and cultural barriers, which is really a good thing. And so in Africa, for example, every major African language has currently, been translated, right? And so courses can be served in those languages, right? And so instead of having, for example, someone having to learn the language before he can teach the people in that community or city, via like AI and via all of the translation models available online, we can easily translate a course from English to all these languages. So those are some of like the very critical areas that the country has helped. But I think we still have some hurdles, infrastructural hurdles, right? Which is the second part of the question. And I'll speak primarily a lot to our African experience. Connectivity is still a problem, right? Yes, it's better in the urban areas. That's where we're at. I want to be all of us in color in urban areas, but so it's possible. It's a lot better in like the urban areas, but you still have really remote areas with a young, vibrant African population where there's not a lot of connectivity. And the truth is that we're only able to scale as far as connectivity permits. So we still have like connectivity limitations, basically. We still have like device accessibility issues. Yes, smartphones are rampant. Everyone has a smartphone. Everyone is digital. But it would shock you that there's still millions of young persons in Nigeria, for example, who do not have access to a smartphone. And probably the best they have access to is like a touchlight device or something. And some persons don't even have any device due to poverty and access and so many reasons. So device accessibility is a problem. We have the issue of power as well, right? So unstable electricity, unstable power disrupts like the rhythm of online classes even more. How you access the online learning platforms or classes is through a device, and those devices run on batteries, and those batteries need to be charged, correct? And so those are challenges: connectivity, device accessibility, power, as well. Finally, I think something else I'd like to touch basically is that I think that when it comes to like edtech, that's technology in education and the platforms we're building, I think that a lot of times, even our African startups and platforms try to model learning after like the Western world, after like a Western template. You have like Western centric content, as well. And so something I'd like to see a lot more, which I think a lot of platforms are doing. I have Technicals Africa, which is a mentorship platform, and there are a lot of other platforms out there, basically, right? What I'd like to see a lot more of is being able to customize learning for the African context, right? And not just in terms of language, but also really like in terms of, as Africans, what are the best ways we learn? Do we learn a lot better through videos, for example? Do we need to make like the learning experience gamified and more interactive? And so we can look out there to what is existing and the external platforms that have been built with global access. We can learn from them, but we need to transfer all of those learnings basically to build for the African youth, for the African context, right? So I think, that's something also very important. Education through technology in Africa needs to reflect like African realities, local languages, local examples and use cases. For example, you are teaching something in software development or product management. Instead of using like global companies that have built products, why don't you use African success stories? We have Paystack, we have Flutterwave, we have a lot of other companies as well. Corapi is doing pretty well in that respect. And so using like a local African context, combining that basically with, technology, with the best type of platforms, the best infrastructure, I think will give us something that will win and will help drive adoption a lot faster within Africa.
Thank you, Glory, for that great insight. It's really important to understand that access to learning has been decentralized. It has killed geographical, cultural barriers, and we still have those issues. My take from your session is connection issues to the rural areas, device access, unstable power, and customized learning for the African community is very important. So right now I'm going to move on to direct my next question to Elochukwu on health transformation. So Elochukwu, are you there? So I can ask your question.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, thank you. So my question is, there's a lot of data sharing in the tech sector and all of that. So data security, infrastructure, what will be the infrastructural requirements and cyber risk mitigations that should be taken in digital health?
Okay. Thank you. So
All right.
speaking about digital health, right? And the most critical infrastructure requirements for a successful digital health platform, and also to keep it secure, right? I was looking at this and I said I'm just going to broaden this a bit, right? Because every piece of tech out there, be it in telemedicine, be it in digital health or in edutech, right? It's running somewhere, right? Everything is running on an infrastructure somewhere. right? So for me, the first starting point is to make sure you have a solid background, right? You have a solid architecture, right? Sitting on very high speed servers, high speed storage, high speed networking, right? Get the foundation right. And and then whatever you are laying on top of it, be it AI, be it telemedicine, be it electronic health records, right? It's set up to perform, right? Because the foundation is right. So you cannot overemphasize the need for a solid infrastructure, right? Back end infrastructure, right? To serve the purpose that you need, right? Now, for the concerns, for the security concerns, right? I'll approach it in two dimensions. I'll speak about using technology, right, to achieve a secure platform, and also about process. Now, technology, right? We are talking about sensitive data. In telemedicine, you're talking about patients' data, information about patients and even the healthcare providers, right? In edutech, you're talking about students' data, students' results, and all that, right? So for each of all these platforms that we are building, there are going to be a lot of systems communicating to each other back and forth. We cannot overemphasize the need for end-to-end data encryption at all layers. Sensitive patients' data, sensitive students' data, results, right? All these have to be kept encrypted, both in transit and at rest. Um, Again, this goes without saying that there should be authentication everywhere. A doctor wants to log into a healthcare record platform. A patient wants to log in to access his next appointment date. Right, there should be authentication everywhere. There should be no platform where you just call up on the internet and you are in. Right, there should be authentication everywhere, and also there should be even multi-factor authentication, 2FA and all that where necessary. There are many ways to achieve this today. There are OTPs via email, via SMS, right, to ensure that, I mean, it's actually you who has the right access that is getting this access into the platform, right? Also, data should be segmented, right? People should have access just to what is required. A doctor, for example, who is seeing a particular patient, right? The records for that patient, I mean, can be limited to just the healthcare providers who are rendering care to that patient, right? There should be role-based access control at every layer wherever possible, right? If a nurse does not need access to particular sort of information, that should be limited. Of course, it goes without saying that patients logging onto platforms to see their records, there should be no case where um, patient A has access to patient B data and all those kind of stuff, right? Network security, we cannot also, I mean, overemphasize on this. Implement firewalls at the perimeter, implement web application firewalls where necessary. I'll dwell on this last one for a bit because some of the cyber attacks have actually happened recently. Right, simple software patches and updates could have helped um, mitigate or reduce some of these, right? This is the last, but not certainly not the least, right? Regular updates, regular patching of backend infrastructure, software, firmware, application, whatever it is, right? As simple as even the IoT devices, the smart devices that the doctors, the nurses use to access all these information, as simple as that, making sure they are up to date and kept secure. It's also very important. Um, I'll speak now briefly on the process, right? I mean, there is also very great need to ensure that every platform, right, that is participating in rendering telemedicine and keeping patients' data adhere to strict regulatory compliance. There are different um, data protection regulations out there, right? And I believe, be it in edutech, be it in television, that apply to ensure that you conduct regular risk assessment and audits, and also make sure that there is adequate employee training. This is very, very key. in mitigating cybersecurity and cyber threats, right? Because the weakest link gives the bad actors access to the gold mine, right? So they cannot overemphasize the need for employee training, be it in the hospital, right? The healthcare providers need to know not to click that link. They need to know to ask questions when they see something funny, right? So cybersecurity awareness trainings, as simple as it is, right? It could be daily tips sent via email to all staff, right? It could be weekly tips. It could be a bi-monthly session to just drive awareness about the current trends that is happening, what those bad actors out there are doing, specific to your sector, to try to gain access to patients' information, right? So that's also very key. And I'll just stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Elochukwu. I would like you to dwell on this experience I would like to share. Is about decentralizing the system. So the Lagos state government has done some pilot study on using like health cards for patients. But you find out that imagine if this particular general hospital doesn't have a facility, another hospital has. So you have to get a card from each of those hospitals. You can imagine having to go through that. Although when you go to the hospital right now, if you are, let's say you have to see the ENT doctor or another specialist, they'll send your data to the doctor in question, have to now start transferring. So I just want you to speak a bit on that, on decentralizing the system into one database.
Okay, I mean, you already answered. You already answering the question. What the solution should be? I mean, it of course is. I don't want to go all ballistic on the state of the nation, right? But of course, at least like the 49 of us, like the other speaker mentioned, we are all in urban areas, and I believe that we are privileged, right? And we've seen how some of these things work other places, right? Where, for example, NHS, I'll just give that as an example, right? And how patients record, right, across hospitals participating within a scheme should be accessible to the hospital participating in that scheme, right? This is basically having centralized database and centralized systems that speak to each other. Maintaining standards to ensure that every participating hospital is basically not a loophole in the security of the whole ecosystem, right? And then, I mean, having a good regulatory framework around this. I mean, it's not as simple as it is sometimes when you go out there, see it happening in the UK, in Europe, right? They've put in the work to make those things function as it is, right? And it did not start in a day, right? But I mean, whenever we are ready to start, it's a good day to start, right? Starting from providing an infrastructure, right? The framework that will govern data sharing, information between hospitals, the hospitals that are participating, making sure that they are tech-wise up to standard to participate and not compromise the whole ecosystem, right? So, I mean, again, some of these things also could be driven by policies, right? And also there's a huge, because you mentioned government hospitals, there's a huge impact and government has to play in achieving some of these also, right? And ensuring that the government hospitals are I mean, beginning to live up to standard, right? I mean, just quick examples, right? Today, there are different HMO schemes that you don't need to go to a particular hospital to use a particular HMO scheme, right? The same enrollee number, you take it and you can go across hospitals and access care, right? So these things, I mean, private hospitals, independent HMO schemes are showing that some of these things can work, right? For it to work within our own public hospitals and government hospitals, right, is about putting the process, putting the policies, and putting the frameworks in place to ensure that there is data sharing, the systems speak to each other, and patients don't need to go to the hassles of transferring file and all that from hospital to hospital. Or, I mean, you visit any hospital tomorrow and you need to start your patient history from scratch, right? I mean, wasting time and wasting effort that could have been used in actually providing care to patients. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that insight, Tuko. So we can see that data regulatory framework is very important. My next question will go to Olajumoke.
Excuse me, please. I've got a question. I raised my
Okay, all right. Okay.
So
I didn't
yeah,
see that.
apologies.
All right.
I didn't raise my hands up.
No
Okay, I
worries.
think the question is for Toby, the other guy that spoke before, Mr. Iloma. I don't know if he's still on the call. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Mr.
Okay.
Toby. So I picked up on something he said. He said what you said was really powerful, having access to all those training platforms that can be accessible to various individuals in various places. Now, what if these platforms are available? However, Nigerians in particular were blacklisted. Like the IP address from Nigeria, you can't access it. I'm aware of some platforms that some I manage and other platforms I'm aware of. If they see that your IP address is from Nigeria, they blacklist you. And these platforms have exactly what we need to help people in maybe those rural areas. I'm aware that we can use VPN to bypass that, but what I'm getting to is this. If there are certain individuals that actually need, excuse me, I've got a really bad cold. If there are certain individuals that actually need access to this, it's more of probably connecting these platforms to these individuals. If we have access to those platforms, if the intention is to actually provide access, then we have some of, well, I don't know every other person, I have access to some of these platforms that can literally help. And these trainings or offerings are tailored in ways that are accessible and used. They're accessible by Nigerians if using VPN. However, the way the offerings are actually placed, they are placed in the ways that we know how to access and learn. Because from where I'm coming from, I was born in Nigeria. I studied in Nigeria. And the way we learn is open a textbook, read a textbook, and download what you remember from that textbook. That's one of the ways I know we used to learn back in the day. And I want to believe things have changed. We now have video ways of, we have ways of connecting online via various means. So my question is it that they're not aware this platform exists, or like, I'm just trying to understand how we can help, because at the end of the day, I want to believe part of the objective of this is to see how we can, make things better, gain access to things that we ordinarily wouldn't know that exist. So then if Mr. Toby can help me answer that question.
I'm thinking that's for Iloma, if I'm correct.
No, that's for Mr. Toby.
Okay.
Was it Toby no, sorry.
No, it was,
Mr. Glory.
yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
I'm so sorry.
It was Glory. It was Glory. Yeah.
It was Glory.
I apologize.
No problem.
Mr. Glory.
Okay, yes, fine, it's fine. Yeah, I thought that. Thanks. I got the question, thankfully. So let me transformize what I think you're asking. What you're asking basically is, global platforms out there that have important content for Africans, but because of how we are viewed as a people, from a PR perspective, our IP addresses are blacklisted, and so we cannot access those platforms and those content, basically. So what can we do? That's the question in summary, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'd say there's short term and long term, right? Short term, is there anything stopping us from building platforms locally, accessible locally, that have those same quality of content for our folks to access and use? Basically, like, is there anything stopping us locally from building our own platforms, creating our own resource that are global in terms of standard, that can match what those platforms also have. And of course, will be accessible for guys, like I talked about before, with a lot of like the required local African context. That's something I think we can start to do, right? The longer term thing will be the reason why the IP addresses are blacklisted. And you're right, I've had some experience with respect to that. I'm sure a lot of us or some of us will know Cloudflare. We have platforms basically that are behind Cloudflare. I'm sure you probably can speak about that, but we have platforms that are behind Cloudflare. And then when they sense you're from the X region or X country, you're blacklisted, you cannot access it. And I've experienced that. Now, there's a reason why that is the case.
Sorry, it's even crazy that even local companies, right?
Yep.
Right now, Nigerian companies that are making use of Cloudflare, and I'm trying to access the site, and it's telling me I cannot access.
So something is wrong somewhere. Something is really, really wrong, right? I mean, so I was going to say, like, for the global platforms that are blacklisting us, there's a reason why. I think that because of various complex reasons, I don't want to go as far as racism, but because of various complex reasons, how we are viewed as a people, some of the things we have done. I mean, we know, for example, that in time past, Nigeria used to be heavily associated with the Yahoo thing. So when you see a mail saying, "I'm a fresh prince from Nigeria," or from the Kingdom of Nigeria, it creates the sense, right? So what I'm saying is, like, there's a way we're viewed as a people, and that has informed the reason why these guys do that is primarily security reasons. If we allow persons from this area, this geographical location, to access our platform, there's a chance that they'll probably try to find like ways to exploit the platform and wreak havoc and all that stuff. So we need to definitely invest a lot in PR. Like, we have a lot of success stories, right? Like, some of the patches of bad things here and there happening do not get to define us as Africans. And in fact, if you really look at the stats, I don't want to call countries and all that stuff, but when it comes to even like cyber crimes and the rest, we're probably not even the highest rank.
We're not.
We're not number one, exactly, right? Like there's a continent that has like a lot of them. I'm not going to call names, right? So it shows. So it means that in terms of PR, we need to highlight like the success stories. We need to highlight like the geniuses amongst us. We have guys that are building stuff. We have unicorn companies, over $1 billion and more. We have companies basically that are not just creating value for Africans, but also exporting technology across the world. So we need to emphasize a lot on this. And I think that from a medium-term to long-term basis or perspective, this would clearly turn things around and change the tides. But in the short term, I genuinely think that we have what it takes to build our own platforms with the same world-class, globally accredited content that will really drive value across like our folks, and of course without any sort of barriers geographically or access-wise.
Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to add one thing about the image as well. I think for image, it has to be from inside out. A lot of times we really have to believe in ourselves. I remember traveling to, I'll mention the name of the country, Cyprus, and everyone that I met that was a citizen of Cyprus they were actually selling the country to me. They were telling me every good thing in Cyprus that I wasn't aware of, from the receptionist to when I took my kids to the nursery for childcare and things like that. Everyone. So they have more, like the total population of the country, the people visiting as tourists was twice the number of people living in that country. So they have more tourists coming than the people actually living in there. So everyone is being told you have to. So it's like a personal thing on them to sell the image of their country to everyone that steps into the country. So I think we really need to do a lot about our image and also believing in what we have, showcasing it, and really pushing it out. Because even when we have these local, like the last speaker just said, sorry, I'm trying to remember his name.
Glory. My name is Glory.
Yeah, sorry, Glory. Yeah, sorry about that. So, like Glory just said, even if we have those local things, it will get to a time that we have to actually import that and, put that, export that out from Nigeria to other countries. So being able to make our image, likable, and portraying all the good things that we have to offer, I think is very, very vital as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glory. Thank you very much, I say. Now, that's very important. Having a good image laundry about our country is important in helping us to actually have a good image in the world and to other citizens. And talking about Cyprus, as sometimes people have another image of Cyprus, but you sharing with us here that Cyprus,
Yes.
a lot of their citizens are giving us good recommendations about their country. So I think we should do that as well instead of just going on Twitter and say, "Oh, this is that government is." My next question will actually go to you, Olajumoke. What do you think are the ethical responsibilities in design for AI-driven healthcare products?
Okay.
Can you just share
Really
that
answered
with
the
us very
question
quickly?
previously, but I can add more things as well.
No,
I know
that's fine.
Imam mentioned something around inclusion. So I'll cite
Yeah.
some instance around healthcare here. I live in the UK, and when it comes to data, there are some information that is not easily available. And I remember one of the nurses, the sonographer was telling me that they realized that pregnancy in Black female is different. The way it progresses is different from the way it progresses if it was, the other color. And because of that, they tend to treat everybody generally. So I would say that for designers, for when they're trying to collate data, there should be a lot of inclusion. I've seen where people, people with, black color, or people, that colored people are actually giving wrong diagnosis because of their misinterpreting the what they are saying. So, for example, if someone with a black skin has a rash on the body, there is a term they would give, and that might not exactly be what it is. So there should be a lot of inclusion around collating data. I've also mentioned making sure that the patients are, they are not taking more than, necessary, and information should be on a need to know basis. And also, they should ensure as well that there is a lot of transparency, there is a lot of accountability, and the limitation of each of these tools should be communicated. There should be governance around how data is managed, how data is process, and all around data privacy, making sure that the information around the users are protected, and everything is done the way it should. So yeah, in a nutshell, I would say that is one other thing that should really, really be emphasized. There should be no biases, and there should be diversity and inclusion when it comes to data collation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll say thank you very much to all speakers. So I would like to have just every speaker in 1 minute just answer this question. If you want to give one piece of advice to a student or professional who wants to future-proof their career against the rapid changes in technology over the next 5 years, what would that advice be? I will begin with Olajumoke, you can take
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I would advise that like an upcoming person or a young adult, you should be nimble, being able to adapt quickly. So that would be a very, very important skill that everyone needs to develop, because technology is really progressing, is very rapid, and before you are able to catch your breath, another one is coming up. So being nimble, being able to adapt quickly as technology is changing, and also adopting emotional intelligence. We are all talking about AI, but AI is not all knowing. There are some aspects of AI that still would require human input, and that would mean someone that is emotionally intelligent, that can be analytical, and being able to process information and also provide solution to whatever AI is delivering. So yeah, that would be my advice in a nutshell. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Olajumoke. I'll move on to Elotiku.
Okay. I mean, first and foremost, right? I'll say uh, basically in Nigeria today, I mean, for those who are still doing school in Nigeria, right? We just want to get a degree, and I would say that 4 years is very important, right? Um, don't I will not to sound so pessimistic about what's happening here, but most likely and most often than not, that degree you're getting here is not what you're going to use in life, right? Why doing it, right? That 4 years is very important, right? Try to do something bilateral, right? Pick up another skill, right? Learn something else, right? Time is, with the way tech is going, right? Um, it's very necessary that you don't spend 4 years acquiring a degree that they're not going to use. I agree that the degree is necessary because I mean it opens some doors. There are some hypothetical doors that it still opens these days, right? You must have a degree, right? But still, many places today, it's not enough to just have a first degree or to you need to have a skill, a useful skill, right? Again, I'm trying not to say a tech skill, right? You need to have a useful skill because it's not everyone that will do tech, right? You might be in school, right? And you are learning how to make stuff, right? And you also learning how to apply tech in making that stuff. Or the application of tech might be to advertise it or to market it or whatever. But simply, I'll just put in one sentence: don't spend 4 years, 5 years, right, learning stuff you're not going to use, especially if you're not in a field that is a specialized field like medicine and the rest, right? But I mean, um, I'm being very honest and very blunt with the way and how things are moving. Make sure you are doing something bilateral beside. Thank you.
Thank you, Elotiku. Before I move on to Glory, please, in the audience, if you have any question for any of the speakers, kindly drop it in the chat box. We'll treat it after this session. I'll move on to Glory now, very quickly, in just 1 minute.
Okay, so what I would say, guys, really is that the world has shifted, and it's incredible, right? Every time there's a shift like this or new wave that comes like this, it creates new opportunities, right? And what that means basically is that there is currently level playing field for every one of us on this call to become more valuable as people. Um, we need to learn new skills. AI being one of those that have become very critical. Everything has shifted. Software engineering, software development, for example, has shifted. Project management has shifted. Data analysis has shifted. Project management, every single major career path, design, graphic design, product design, brand design, every single thing has shifted, right? And so your job right now is to do very good research. Um, how do the current shifts or trends how has that impacted my current primary field, my career trajectory? So do your research. When you find that out, go on an aggressive learning journey, go on an aggressive certification journey. And what you're doing basically is repositioning yourself, increasing your value in the new ecosystem, so that as thousands of persons get to be lead off, and it's already happening, right? Global companies, some of the biggest companies in the world, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, for example, and the rest have lead off tens of thousands of staff. And if you really check like the numbers, they didn't do so because their books are down. They didn't do so because revenue is down. They are still making, in fact, they are reaching new heights when it comes to revenue. But the lady, of course, they've seen the shift. They've seen the fact that for a lot of the roles that all these persons were doing. We're now able to build our own AI, internal AI tools to do the job faster and more efficient. Right? So what your goal basically over the next few months, is to do your research, find out what has shifted in my field, and go on an aggressive learning journey, become more valuable so that you are still going to be involved and important in the new ecosystem we find ourselves. And of course, we are going to be touching a lot on this in the upcoming Tech Revolution Africa conference, which is happening in 2 months' time, January 30th and 31st.
I'll still let you talk about that.
Sure.
Yes, I'll come back to you to talk about that. Thank you, Glory.
Right.
I'll move on to Techeconomy to give us our take before we have Toby finally.
Yeah, so most of my colleagues have actually said what it is. You need to find what it is that you're currently doing and how to add value to that. That being said, it's not about theory based, it's about practical based. Find places where you can actually practice anything you have learned. Because a lot of companies these days are not looking for individuals who can
visits.
what's that, Kane? Sorry, yeah. So a lot of companies these days are not looking for individuals who can replay a textbook back to them. They're looking for individuals who can actually do the job. So once you go on your aggressive, once you've identified, the plan is identify your current role needs to make you more valuable. Once you identify that, find a place where you can learn. Once you find a place where you can learn, then find a place that gives you the opportunity to actually practice what you have learned. We offer that. So we're not the only one that do that. Find a place where you can practice, if it's product management, cybersecurity, solutions architect, whatever it is that you feel you can actually do. You don't necessarily need to know it all. You don't, because companies these days are not only looking for seniors, they're equally looking for juniors. So once you find a place where you can learn, you've learned, find a place where you can practice, then start searching, update your LinkedIn profile, be searchable. Mr. Glory said a lot of companies are laying off individuals, not necessarily because they don't have the means to pay, but because in one of the reasons that they are laying off people is because in Africa, they're tapping into Africa. They are saying cheaper labor to get the same job done. That's one of the reasons why they're also, for you to go into, say, freelancing, for instance, for you to update your LinkedIn profile in any role, they will rather employ you because it gets the job done and you're getting the same quality for less. So you need to, this is a time to tap into whatever it is you're learning, be it tech or non-tech roles. Tap into what is you're learning, upskill yourself, get this certification, find companies that you can practice whatever it is you've learned, update your LinkedIn profile, and before you know it, they'll start reaching out to you because you already have the skill set, not necessarily just the theory or the practical side of things. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Finally, we have Toby.
All right, thank you. It's wonderful to go last because everyone has touched on the sector I play in education, right? Everyone speaking is saying keep learning, don't stop learning, keep adapting, don't stop adapting. Is all education for me, and I think I would end with that you don't just learn on things that are not obsolete, learn on things that are the future of your individual sectors. We have people in classrooms now that are taking second jobs as online learning tutors. We have people in the fintech space. We have people that are doing virtual assistants and things like that. So you need to keep learning. You need to keep adapting. You need to keep updating yourself. And there's something I always tell people, do a self-appraisal of yourself. Okay, in the next 5 years, where do I want to be at? With the way technology is going, what do I want to achieve? With the skills I have currently, are they going to be obsolete in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years? These are questions you need to ask yourself so that if it means you update yourself. There's YouTube, we have free courses. We've mentioned different kind of Coursera's and the likes. There's Edward there. You can learn, you can unlearn, you can keep learning. I don't say one technology is too complicated for you to learn. If someone can master a technology, I believe you can also master it regardless. So just keep learning and keep doing your thing, and you will never be obsolete. That's the thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. So we have one question in the chat box. I'll quickly read. And I think Glory or anyone on the panel could answer. Are there existing platforms in Nigeria or globally that support people with strong analytical or innovative ideas who want to build solutions but lack access to investors? This is like three questions in 3 or 4 questions in one. So I think we'll just answer one. Many talented individuals have impactful, but yet there are very few spaces where these ideas can be shared, reviewed, and supported. Are there communities where people can submit ideas and get visibility, mentorship, or funding, especially for those who don't have investor connections or struggle to get responses through email or LinkedIn? I'm just asking because I have noticed it's a major struggle for Nigerians. Glory, I think you should answer the question and just share the recap about the conference.
Okay, thank you.
As well.
The question is very good because it just helps me tie into the conference. So please, I don't know the name of the person who asked, but as you have asked this question, you have to ensure you're at the Tech Revolution Africa conference, right? And the reason is because we will be bringing some of Africa's biggest VC companies and investors live at the conference. When I say live, I don't mean virtually. I mean the human beings who make decisions to fund companies. $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million will be live at the conference. And I can call names. We have Tosin Faniro of Briga. Briga, I think last year launched a $65-70 million African startup fund, which they've begun investing in some of the most innovative companies on the continent. And we have Kerry Booker. Kerry Booker is an OG. Can you guys hear me? Can I be heard?
Yes, very well.
So we have Kerry Booker. Kerry Booker. Sorry, a call keeps interrupting me. We have Kerry Booker. Kerry Booker, when it comes to investments, he was one of the pioneer investors in companies like PiggyVest, for example, right? He's going to be live at the conference. We have Ian. I'm sure all of us know who Ian Abuiji is. Former co-founder Andela, co-founder of Total Wave, co-founder Future Africa. He's invested in tons of companies as well. So we're going to have VC companies. We're going to have investors on ground. And we have something called the Deal Room, right? And the Deal Room is a space where founders and investors will be able to meet one-on-one. And so the question I would throw back at you who asked this question and other persons who are interested in this is, when you come across these investors, do you have your pitch ready? Would you be able to pitch them successfully within the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes? But for the question, the Tech Revolution Africa conference is going to be that important place, basically, for you to meet investors, sell and pitch your idea to get funding. And then I'm wrapping up right now. The conference again is holding on the 30th and 31st of January next year. It's holding a Landmark. I don't know how many of us are based in Lagos, but I'm sure we probably know Landmark is one of the biggest event spaces in the entire state. And we're looking at hosting 5,000 persons over 2 days. And there's going to be keynote sessions, fireside chats, panel conversations, workshops, and a lot of stuff. And this session we've just participated in is brought to us by Techeconomy, Tech Revolution Africa, and CoralPay. CoralPay is also going to be live at the event. They've come on board as one of our key sponsors, and we're glad to have them on board with us, right? So why should you attend the conference? And I'm wrapping up in 2 minutes. Why should you attend? If you are professional on this call and you like to land your next big tech job, there's going to be over 150 companies participating. And I'm not selling dreams or missing words. We're going to have that many companies around in the room, leaders from the companies, CC's executives. And so you are walking along the walkway, and you probably will just stumble on a CEO of that favorite company you've been eyeing on LinkedIn. And I kid you not, it's really going to fall down to how well you're able to pitch yourself at the end of the day. You should attend the conference as well if you'd like to land investment for your startup. Like I've said, we're going to have a lot of companies and investors in the room. You'd be able to interact with them, meet with them one-on-one, and sell and pitch. And hopefully this will lead to you raising funds or doing a close round with them. If you'd like to land like business partnerships and more for your services, your businesses, this is also going to be a good avenue. Also, there's going to be a lot of learning. We're having some of the biggest and brightest tech leaders globally, as well as in Africa, who will be live. And they'll be sharing a lot of tips. We'll be talking around the creator economy and activity, around edtech. We'll be having like a startup fest where we'll have focused conversations. We'll be talent. We'll be on AI. Of course, we'll be doing like a forecast for 2026 to 2030. What are the trends saying? Where's Africa headed? What headed? How can we plug in? It's going to be really, really rich. Like my co-founder at the beginning mentioned, there are 40 categories. We're currently running the Black Friday promo. So this is the time you'd be able to get the tickets at most affordable, around 9,000, 10,000. There's the business pass going for about 30K instead of 50K. There's the executive pass going for like the deal room, being able to access investors. You would need to be on the founder ticket pass to access that, which comes with a lot of other benefits like launch. And so if you look at the charts, we've put the website in there. Just visit techrevolutionafrica.org to get your tickets right now. Be part of the conference. Techeconomy is also going to be at the conference. So you'll be able to also meet them as well, all of your PR needs and more. Yeah, I think I've touched that exhaustively. Thank you very much. Over.
Speech already and the conference. I'll say thank you to all speakers who have shared a lot of insights today. Please drop your emojis for the just to say thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll say this is the end of the session today, a wonderful session. Tech Economy Business Series in conjunction Tech Revolution Africa. See you in December. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Africa is on the move. In just the first half of the year, startup across the continent has raised more than $1.4 billion from Lagos to Nairobi. Big ideas are built every day, but the big question is, will you be part of it? That is why we created the Tech Revolution Africa 2.0, the big, bold step. This isn't just another event. This is where founders
Tosi and Mr. Glory, can we connect here or offline, or how would you prefer we have that conversation, please?
Maybe I should create a link and send to you via the chat box.
Yes, please. Okay. Thank you. Should we, that's for right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you.
I'll share a Google Meet link shortly.
All right. Thank you very much.
Africa is on the move. In just the first half of the year, startup across the continent has raised more than $1.4 billion from Lagos to Nairobi. Big ideas are built every day, but the big question is, will you be part of it? That is why we created the Tech Revolution Africa 2.0, the big, bold step. This isn't just another event. This is where founders pitch the bold vision, where investors meet the next big thing, and where conversations spark partnerships that shapes the future. This is where Africa's tech story meets the global stage. How you experience the Tech Revolution Africa 2.0 depends on the tickets you choose. Classic, Day 2 main stage, exhibitions, and startup fest. The business class, both days, premium seatings, replays, and stronger networking. Executive,
priority entry, hoodies and tees, curated launches, and the executive founder mixers, founders and investors, deal room access, exclusive mixers, direct connection, and all the exclusive perks. Whichever ticket you choose, you step into rooms full of opportunities, insights, and connections designed just for founders like you. Get your ticket today at techrevolutionafrica.org. Let's take the big bold step together.